Hello and welcome back to Mistworld. It's been a beat, we were just saying, since we last left our players. But when we did last leave our players, they'd just seen the temple of the god that they had been assigned to destroy. They have decided to take an overhill route to try and get there, hopefully avoiding any issues with the mist poisoning them as they start reaching up higher. And they have the Neely's sun accompanying them as they go through the wasteland. Um, it's early in the morning for you guys. You've just woken up from a rest as you go. Does anybody want to say or do anything in preparation for going up? Or
I think Henry will apologize to the group for getting a bit hectic because I think last time we left Henry, he was trying to save everyone and ended up knocked unconscious and being a burden where he needed to be dragged across the desert for a long while.
Mhm.
So I think
That's
he'll
just
just
standard, Henry behavior.
so yeah, I think he'll try and wake up early, try and
Mhm.
cook breakfast with the minimal things they have, and then have give a rousing speech. So um, I just wanted to say I'm sorry I let it get to my head. Davin, is Davin right?
Yes.
Good. I just been it feels like a long time since we last spoke. Uh, so that's fine. It's cool. And yeah, so he'll try and walk up and do everything he can to build the morale of the group, and then we can continue on.
That actually reminds me, one thing that I forgot to mention is as part of that mad dash for that camp, you did manage to Darling managed to grab a an arm um, that Astrakhan could potentially try and reattach. It's like super basic, like think like a Lego arm with a bit of a bend to it. But
I,
if
I was going to say, probably while Henry's making his speech and cooking some of our everlasting salami for
Mhm.
breakfast, I was going to have a look at the arm and see how plausible it would be to attach it to Henry.
Yeah, so it's really just got the shoulder joint. It's missing. It's kind of held straight at the elbow. So if you wanted to, you've got a couple of options for the kind of the hand area where you can either just have it set to hold the shield that he's been carrying around this whole time, or you can set it to be like a claw. It's kind of really up to you guys because it's very basic system. It's not something that's kind of designed for a lot of options here.
Well, I mean, I'll ask Henry, does he want a claw or shield? I can probably do the arm thing, um, but this is not a very complex arm, and I don't have a lot of tools. I've got a lot of like weird acid and stuff, but not a lot of components, so I can't make it too much more complicated than this. So what would you like, Henry?
Or a tail. It doesn't have to be an arm, Henry.
We
I,
could
But
also
he's
think bigger,
I
yes.
reckon
but
he would
he
look
is
pretty
missing
good
it.
with a tail on.
Maybe if we
I,
find another arm, he could have a tail.
I don't know about a tail. I mean, I can just I can hold my shield again, and will make me feel close to you guys. So maybe just we'll reattach it, and I'll do something like that if that's okay. We'll put the shield on it, and I'll try and protect you guys as best I can.
Okay, we can do that. Shield, that's probably the simplest option as well.
Thank you.
So
Yep. So I'll get you to roll your 3d6 kind of cybermancy roll to see how well you're able to get attached.
okie dokie. Uh 411. I didn't sleep well. I'm not having a great day.
I think the problem is that it was for Henry. If it was anyone else,
So yeah,
It's attached to the hip now.
well, I think it's more it's just heavier than you expect. So what I'll say with that, Henry, is that while it is like attached to you, um, the, Astrakhan kind of needs to put a bit of extra strapping on to hold it in place,
sure.
and as a result, any kind of like running or movement that you try and do will be hindered. Will be
Okay,
at a disadvantage.
love it.
Because
You
we
can
totally need the disadvantage for your rolls.
Well, I mean, he can take it off, and I'll say it's got like a release system, so he can take it off as an action and stow it if he's like in real trouble. But generally speaking, it's the expectation is that unless said otherwise, it's going to be out and attached.
Cool.
Oh, but I will throw in, just because I thought of this and I think it's funny, that you can rotate it so it can serve as a serving tray. It can work as a serving tray as well as a shield.
Awesome. Look, it works perfect. Anyone for tea?
What did you make the tea out of?
Well, we still had some of that hardened inside of dragon throat, and I just let it brew for a while and heated it up. It's not bad, if not a bit gamey.
I'm not thirsty right now, but I'll try it later.
I wouldn't recommend it. It tastes really bad if it goes cold.
I will not try it later.
Oh, okay. Anyone else?
M-
Mr.
Maybe
Whitburn,
next
Melody?
brew.
Oh.
No, thank you. I am fine. I think this is not not
Yeah,
my cup
no.
of tea, as you say.
That's yeah, no, okay. I guess
Sure. Yeah. I'll
okay,
try it.
cool. It's just the boys. Boys team. Here, Davin, drink up.
Mr. Whit will carefully watch to see if Devon dies first.
I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting to roll dice so soon. So give me one my dice roller.
I
As you
mean,
guys
Oh.
attempt to poison the NPC, it's fine.
What?
I haven't done anything. I actively refused to consume any something.
Well, the good news is David actually got 2 6s, so
Oh.
he's fine.
So great. Then I am clearly going to be fine as well.
Clearly,
Clearly.
how can it get worse?
So, well, I mean, at least I get to roll and
It'll
Lucky
be
doesn't.
Yeah, 2d6 for you.
Got a 1 and a 6.
I'm just trying to work out what meat-based tea will taste like, and it is a description.
I mean, isn't it just
I think it's just
broth?
broth.
It's just broth. Okay,
It's just functionally broth, right? It's pho.
I've
if
gone at the
anything.
tea through me, and you're right. It's basically dragon throat broth.
Dragon pho.
Dragon fur.
I feel like it's something good to like, if you've got whatever this version of Super COVID is.
But I mean, people do actually drink Bovril as a drink. They mix
Yeah.
it with hot water and drink it. It's probably like that.
Yeah, but they're
Alright.
British, so
So they don't count.
I don't know if they're really people.
Accurate.
So
I'd like to thank
yes,
our British listeners.
it tastes like
for
it
putting up
tastes
with that.
it tastes like Bovril. It's very gamey because just cause
Salty, gamey Bovril
salty
drink.
gamey Bovril drink. It's more like a cup of soup
Delightful.
than a tea.
But it would be much better if you added some squilk.
Shame we don't
It's a
have
PD
any.
that's been gone for about as long as I care to remember. Just on that note, though, Henry, if you could give me a 2d6 roll as you also choke this down.
Love it. Why is that not wrong? Sorry. A 4 and a 5. Live forever.
Awesome. 5 success. Yep, you guys are all good. No parasites, which is what I was actually rolling for, and yep, it's just a nice little drink. You guys pack up, camp. You can see like the mist is a bit thicker now. You can just make out this temple outcropping. Just to explain what it is a bit more. What you're effectively looking at is a giant person with a temple acting as like a crown on their head. They've knelt, one knee on the ground, fists down, and just kind of assuming a pose. So people can like reach up to the top of this temple and do whatever they need to do while they're there. And just every now and then, when the sun's a bit brighter or when the mist is a bit thinner, you can make out this enormous shape. If anybody cares to get more detail, you guys can roll a perception roll or 2d6 for that. Except for Darling, who rolls 3d6 because the stupid robot has advantage and everything. If you care to.
Well, Darling is always checking what's going on and is also the only one who actually is keeping track of our direction.
I
So
feel like Melody's also like had a look around whilst everyone else is talking about meat tea.
Mhm.
So I got a 6 and a
6,
3.
5, 4.
So 6 and a 5, that'll be a double success. I what you see with that double success, Danny, or what Darling relays to you more accurately, is that there's wings on the shoulders of this thing. Melody, with your single success, you just make it looks more like a cape,
Mhm.
just kind of hanging down, but it's too big to be a cape, right? But yeah, Darling
mean,
definitely
that-
sees.
That does make more sense out of the superhero landing position.
Yeah,
Probably much easier on the knees if you've got wings to kind of break the fall. Not that this is it's probably a golem. It's a golem, isn't it? It's a giant golem that's going to chase us.
yes. I mean, no.
But I can talk to it.
You can try.
I can't guarantee it'll listen.
So that's what you guys get. I don't know if you guys want to share that information, but that's what you're heading towards.
There is
effectively.
what looks like a cape
It's
coming
it's
off
wings.
the back of this.
It's absolutely wings, Melody.
Oh, that makes sense. And she sort of like, you see her wings like flutter in response to your like, well, of course, duh. Like it hasn't occurred to her, a fellow winged creature. But that makes more sense. They don't look like mine, you see. So
yeah. I mean, your wings could look like a very sparkly cape if you kind of held them at a particular angle. Also, Darling has got like a zoom feature, so that helps.
She's like thinking about what that means because she doesn't understand what you mean by a zoom feature because that doesn't make any sense.
I often don't make any sense.
No. To her, she's like trying to work out what a zoom feature means because she doesn't really understand how Darling works anyway.
I guess you'd say like it's more like a telescope effect.
Yeah.
Than zoom.
Yeah.
No, but that's fine. I'm down with being like mildly confused.
Darling has video teleconferencing facilities.
Yeah, I was trying not to make that joke. Thank you.
She's just a walking Zoom bot. So you guys leave, you share that information. You start making your way. For some reason, Darling's leading the way because it knows the best where to go.
It's the most perceptive and rolls the best out of the entire party. Pretty
Can't
sure
argue with that.
my bot is the most competent one of us.
But eventually you start making out the sound of crying in the mist. You
Hey,
can't
Crying
Henry, how
like-
you doing, buddy?
Like a human sort of weeping and sobbing, or crying like an animal crying?
humanoid.
That's not me. I finished my crying earlier. Is it coming from this way? And I would like to try and figure out where it's coming from.
Yeah. I mean, it's not making any effort to be quiet. It's actually like loud wailing. You can quite easily follow your ears to it.
Well, 4 and a 5 anyway. I know
Yeah.
wailing.
You know your way around a good wail.
Classic Moby Dick. All right. We head in the direction of Moby Dick.
All right. It's a very like loud, deep wailing. Every now and then it seems to be saying something, but you guys can't quite make it out. Eventually, are you guys sneaking up on it? I guess actually before, how are you approaching this?
I wouldn't sneak. I think Henry, if someone's in pain, Henry's got to be there. Experience the pain with them.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I'll just follow behind Henry. If Henry's not sneaking, we're not going to surprise them.
Giant glittery ladybug could be in this situation. So
no effort made towards stealth. Awesome.
Well, not
Love it.
no effort, but like I don't think any effort's gonna mean anything for me.
So you got eventually, Henry. I'll say you're in the front. In your since everyone else is describing himself as hiding behind you.
Okay.
You make out eventually a very large ogre, kind of sitting in the mist, crying. It's got its back to you, and again, it's so loud and so um, kind of distracted that it doesn't notice you guys coming up on it.
Oh, guys, is that an ogre? I'm
It looks like
Alright.
it.
I'm gonna go see if he's okay. And I'll, tenderly creep up behind. Just excuse me. Hello. Hey, buddy.
So you're pretty much, given how little you are, you pretty much are just like tapping it on its mutton top as
I
you.
don't want to get to the point where I'm tapping it. He's just like
Oh.
gingerly walking over towards it and trying to get his attention from behind. Hey, how you doing?
Eventually kind of like stops like and starts like sniffing, blowing its nose, and then it turns to look at you and it starts giving a big sniff and then a bigger sniff, and it says, "Oh, so hungry, you smell like food."
Well, I was eating dragon broth earlier. I might have some left. Some of the people here are pretty ungrateful. Uh, can I interest you in some of that?
It's reaching out towards you.
Henry goes into his bag and starts rummaging for the not the squilk, the anti-squilk.
Okay. Can you roll me a 2d6 to see if you can do that before it grabs you?
Sure. 3 and a 5. Whoa,
Nice.
whoa there, buddy.
So you're holding out like this your kind of stove pot. It's got a silver
On my
lid
shield,
on it
serving platter.
on you. Holding on a shield. It kind of reaches up and grabs the whole thing and chugs it down. I'm still hungry.
All right, well,
What?
just try this and see how you feel.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, good. All right. Anyone else got something you're willing to share? No? Okay.
I I've nothing that I have is edible. He can try it, but
we could point it towards the dragon carcass, perhaps.
That's a few days ago.
It's still going to be there.
You can try.
Hey,
So is that what you say? Just like, does the dragon corpse that away?
yeah, there's a whole heap of food.
like a
one
giant dragon corpse.
one day's walk that way, like a whole stockpile of food, just ready to be cooked, and Tyrion will cook it, and slowly grab Henry sort of like on the shoulders and edge backwards away from the ogre.
All right.
Seems
I'm
harmless.
gonna get you to make me a 2d6 roll to see, unless you got like I don't think you have a trait that would kind of help your argument here. So yeah, could you give me a 2d6 roll to see how well you're able to convince us that you're not food?
I can because I got 2 6s.
Nice.
Nice.
So it goes up to you and starts like sniffing right up against you, but it says, "You smell like dragon over that way," and it kind of dully looks in your direction, in that direction.
Yeah, buddy.
Uh,
Like it's like a day that way or so. So much dragon.
So much dragon. All right. Um, with that critical success, it doesn't take any of you with it. It kind of lumbers up and starts heading back that way. I was hoping you guys would pick a fight with it. Never mind.
We are kind and friendly adventurers who never attack things for no reason.
You
Never.
do see where it was sitting, there was like this big pile of bones, mostly rib cages. They look pretty old though, so it doesn't look like it's a fresh meal.
And this guy loves his ribs. Like Just only no skulls. It only takes rib cages, leaves all the rest behind.
Maybe, or maybe that's just what was left after it crunched the rest.
Alrighty.
Alright.
Maybe the rib bones are too sharp and splinter when you try to eat them.
There is that.
So
can
how
also
far
see-
away are we from the citadel at the moment?
So you're probably about another day or so.
Okay.
So it's as you guys kind of continue, you start to see what look like little torch fires, or little fires in between you and it. Obviously more of the horde encampments. You guys still haven't had a really good look aside from Lockie's bloodlust run last session. At what these guys kind of are. They just seem to be vaguely humanoid at this point. But you are starting to see several camps between here and there.
Henry looks longingly trying to rescue the people. And looks back and sees Devon and these guys and says, one thing at a time.
You don't know
Swallows
if this has
deeply.
got slaves in them though. It could just be like the standing army.
What does Devon know?
He's not
Seen these guys before?
So when he was brought here, he was brought as a contingent of slaves. That any slaves that kind of came were brought in, checked for their magical ability, and then were taken back out again. So he was kind of deemed as too weak, not worthwhile, and so they put him back into the general labor camp and took him away.
I'm going to encourage everybody to be a little more stealthy than we have been up to this point. And I'm going to ask Darling to tell us if we are getting near any people or any dangers a little bit earlier than she would otherwise have done, because that looks like a very large army and there are not very many of us and we are not very fast.
So I might go a bit blades in the dark in this situation, and I was going to ask, like, how are you going to? What approach are you going to take? Are you just going to go like fast, stealthy, cause a distraction elsewhere, look for another way around?
This camp is sort of directly in the way for us, the pathway that we were going up over the mountain.
Well, it's not. It's so with the ogre gone, there's nothing else in the mountain. You guys managed to trudge on through, but once you kind of reach the top and can get a clearer vision again, you see these tents. It could be more to the left than right. You don't know. This is just kind of again that the mist reduces your visibility quite a lot, so it's difficult to make out.
How far away is it?
At this point, it's probably about another half a day. And you can see, so you can kind of like, you got options now. You got time to make decisions about how you want to make this approach.
I mean, I vote for stealthy, even though we're not very good at it.
I mean, if I saw enough guys in their outfits, perhaps we could go in there, sneak up, try and take some of their clothes, and then I could tailor them to fit, maybe cover up Melody's wings and see if we can just walk straight in.
Walk straight into the war camp.
Well, we'd get in there, get out, and then we walk right into the citadel.
That seems like a plausible idea.
Well, I just thought I'd take advantage of any, chance I got to do some sewing. I really haven't had a chance while I've been out here.
I mean, if I need to get past someone who is, let's say, in a position of authority, I am a recorder of stories. They tend to like to talk, so it is usually not hard for me to do that. So if you would like me to distract whilst you are trying to be more stealth, as I am, as you say, not so easy to hide, perhaps this is a good idea.
Oh, maybe we could do like a little acting and scene thing, and you could be, say, a traveling bard, and I'll be your hired mercenary to protect you. And then we walk in, and while they're doing the camp,
just gonna look at the other two to be like, how good is he at pretending and talking to people without it going badly?
He's been pretending his entire life.
See, I'm really good at it.
Do remember that this horde seems to view anyone who isn't part of the horde as food or slaves. They don't interact in a friendly way with random people.
Yeah, but we haven't dealt with
ever.
a storyteller before.
True.
This is fair. Perhaps we save this as plan B. So we
Yeah.
go for the sneaky, quiet stealth option, and then if there is talking to be done, perhaps, good sir, you would let me take the lead rather than you letting your emotions for your friend get in the way, huh?
Yeah, Devon.
She's trying really hard to be diplomatic about being like, you care too much about finding people that you're not going to make smart choices.
Well,
As you kind of say, Devon, I'll just say he's kind of freaking out at the idea of going back. So he's like, he'll do it if you guys absolutely ask of him to, but he'd rather stay here where it's safe. He's not a fighter. He's not got any magical abilities. You guys are far, and he's, been beaten and starved within an inch of his life. So he'd prefer to stay where he is.
well, maybe we could stay where we are and have them come to us. What if we, set up a small fire here and then have a small group come out to us? We can deal with them directly.
What if we went to join the horde and brought them an escaped slave?
Yeah, but I just don't understand why they wouldn't grab all of us if that was the case. I mean, I'm pretty good at at slaving, I assume. I can cook and clean.
Perhaps that is not
and-
the sentence that you think it is, sir.
Oh, okay. I guess
I do not think you want to be good at slaving in your words.
All right. Well, maybe because I'm on a lower tier ladder, maybe you could just call me a bottom. Is that better?
Yes, perhaps you are a weaver of sorts, perhaps a weaver of stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. A bottom slave. That's what I'm going to call myself when I get caught. And then they'll be like, "Yeah, you can be my bottom slave." And then I'll just work my way to the top.
Yeah, the fact that I tried to save us and have it be a Shakespeare joke, and Loki just goes, nah.
Nope,
No.
not a chance.
Like, I tried. I tried real
Weave
hard.
your way in any direction you like. I wanted to steer this back on course.
To the bottom.
Yeah.
You have hit rock bottom, it seems, yeah?
So, and so for listeners who aren't aware, we also have a Shakespeare show, or some of us.
Honestly, the Shakespeare joke actually went over my head.
That's okay. It was there mostly to be like, Lucky, stop.
Shut up.
Lucky,
Just
someone
shut
can
up.
do it
This is
out.
meant to be G.
I'm pretty sure we failed at being G-rated some time ago.
It's okay.
Every day we
So-
try for it.
Aside from Lockie apparently offering his supple body, or Henry's
I
supple body.
never did
Not
that.
very supple
You all
anymore.
took it in the wrong way, just like Henry will.
Well, what's the actual plan?
The actual plan is to sneak into the edges of the camp and steal some uniforms.
Perfect.
If
Love
If we
it.
can find some.
Who's on Mission Laundromat then?
Mission laundromat.
Yeah,
mean-
well, laundry.
Being the bottom slave, Henry will do that.
All right, anyone else?
Anyone else want to be a bottom slave with me?
We'll go along to keep an eye out.
Good.
And so the darling can do some reconnaissance for us.
Yeah. Make her record it and just watch. All right,
I
perfect.
will make darling record it as you out yourself to the evil empire and horde as a bottom slave. That video will be staying with us forever.
All right, we have a plan. Let's put this plan into action.
Very well. So Lucky and Darling, well, Darling will sneak in with Lucky following close behind
Well,
to
I'd
grab.
put Henry in rather than myself. But
Sorry,
it's fine.
Henry, sorry. The character played by Lucky.
Ah, got it. Had to be clear.
We'll go in, grab 1, 2, 3, 4 uniforms. Are you gonna make Devon come along to the main mission, or are you gonna let him?
I mean, I'm
stay
going to give
behind?
him a uniform either way, whether he wants
Yeah.
to come in and die. It's his choice.
Just a reminder, I guess the other question as well is, are you going to have your shield attached? Because that's going to make sneaking and running a lot tougher.
I'll leave it with Davin for now.
Mhm.
Take care of this. It's really important to me. I know it like the
Okay.
back of my hand. Because it is now.
So you guys take off.
We do. Sneakily, as sneakily as we can.
So you guys, so I assume Astrocad, just to help control Daisy, Darling, you're going to kind of go halfway to this camp.
Yeah, I'm going to stay back rather than go
Mhm.
into the camp, but I'm going to be there in case of disasters.
And is Melody
Wait,
going to
so
come along
Henry's
as
just going in
support?
on his own?
Well,
No,
yes,
you're going in
Darling.
with Darling.
We're ruined.
Is Melody going in as
kind
air
of
support?
wants to suss out with the others, with Davin, about whether, like, what the camp it would be like, so that they can have some idea of what they might be, I don't know, walking into.
Smart.
But that's a different conversation to be had.
I like that you start this conversation after they leave.
Oh, she was just watching the conversation bounce around quite severely and trying to convince someone that they were not using good phrasing. But yeah, no, that's what she would be doing. Yeah.
So before he leaves, so he describes it was really hodgepodge. So it's more or less that the horde itself is made up of multiple small groups. They all seem to be able to communicate directly with the Red Fae, though, from what he's been able to understand. Like they just seem to be able to follow orders even without like talking to each other almost. You're absolutely right, though. They are complete slavers. Anybody who's not a part of their horde is in danger, and it would be very hard to kind of engage with them in any kind of conversation. Especially Melody. I hate to say this, but with your accent,
Oh yeah.
I
was fully aware. Kate was fully aware.
I was looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that conversation if that comes up. But yeah, so but in terms of like one of the advantages of them is that they kind of struggle to see. They often rely on smell, so having the uniforms will help with the smell situation. They're not going to look too closely at your faces or bodies as long as you kind of smell right, in quotation marks.
Okay.
And in terms of layout, just kind of get into a tent and see what they got. Hope you're lucky.
Cool. They're just going to sort of set herself up to try and keep an eye on where the others have gone, successfully or otherwise.
No worries.
And Mr. Whitbur's staying with Devon.
Yeah. Preparing the rescue party / taking stock of the supplies for the long walk after you guys get captured.
Yeah. Minimal, we'll say. So you guys, so Henry and Darling take off. Melody's kind of floating up in the sky, trying to keep an eye on them as much as they can. And Astrocad's like partway there.
Because
Lucky,
splitting the party's always a good idea.
I'm gonna do the rolls for Darling on this one, just because I feel like that adds more tension.
Okay.
So Lucky, you kind of go through. You see this little like glowing light that Darling's showing you to make you as you make your way through.
Great.
Every now and it kind of stops and drops down, and assuming you do the same, not long afterwards you see like a group of this horde come past. They seem to be chatting with a bit. You don't understand what they're saying, but it's very guttural and harsh, their language. So far so good. You reach a bunch of tents. Are you just going to stick with Darling, or are you going to go into different tents to kind of speed up the search?
No, I think I'll stick with Darling and try and,
Mhm.
if I can help each other, then it's more useful. Should never
Cool.
split the party.
More than you have. What?
Mhm.
So Darling kind of ducks under the tent flap. After a moment, its little kind of snakes under the tent, does a little come hither motion with its tentacle leg thing, and then slides back under.
Okay, I will go through and crawl under.
The tent is empty. It's very, very ramshackle. There's like um like the Orokai had like really basic weapons. They were more like blunt blunt weapons than swords. That kind of like really rough blacksmithing. Um, some armor, but it's more kind of spiked shields and stuff like that. It's not like a full set of plate or anything like that. Um, you do spy some remnants of a uniform, like some clothing. It reeks when you get close to it, but based on what Devin told you guys, that's a good thing.
Good. All right, I will go ahead and steal that. How many uniforms did I grab?
Give me a D6 roll. Maybe you'll be lucky.
Oh, little fancy D6, huh? I found one.
You found one. It you found two, but like as you were kind of like unfolding it, it disintegrates. It's so like mucky that it just disintegrates under your handling.
Excellent. I don't wear that and try something else. I'll put on the one I found and then we'll continue on my adventure.
It's gonna take some time before your nose blind to this. It's very full on.
Yeah. Just like, it's,
Okay. You leave out the flap, but like Darling kind of leads you out the flap this time. Looks left and right. You do see a group of this horde. You can try and get close and have a closer look, or you can try and avoid them. There's like just one seemingly on guard.
Yeah, I think Henry's going to try and lean into his childhood acting classes and,
Yep.
Walk with a bit of posture and purpose. See if he can, if not draw attention, but not get near them. He's just on a mission to try and find more clothing. So he will
Alright.
do just that.
Are you
You
going to
can't-
put one of the bits of clothing on?
Oh, he
Yeah,
already
he
has.
is.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
out.
okay.
It kind of looks at you, gives like a couple of sniffs, and then kind of grunts and nods in recognition.
I nod back and hold back vomit.
As you get kind of closer, you see they're they're humanoid. They're not any race that you're familiar with, at least not from what you can see. They're very heavily scarred. You see that like that black veinage is all through their skin with this one. Um, and a bit of the bare skin that is exposed as well. Sorry, it also looks like it's been burnt. It's really like um almost misshapen, the parts that you can see. Doesn't seem to affect it physically, but it's very much some kind of mutation or something else has occurred here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fine. I'll continue on looking for more uniform.
Darling kind of gave this thing wide berth, but managed to avoid getting found. Finds another tent. Again, this one's empty, similar gear, poking around. There is like one member of the horde kind of sleeping there, but it's so far you guys aren't making enough racket to wake it up. Did you want to give me another D6 roll as you quickly look through what you have?
Sure. A 3.
So you got 4 pieces of uniform so far. There is the one that's on the bed is sleeping. You could try and kill it and take what it's wearing.
I don't think so. I mean, there's no ruckus in the camp. Henry's not the type to kill unless absolutely required. And last time he tried to attack, he failed horribly.
Mm.
So he's just going to keep sneaking. That's his prerogative at the moment.
All right. You're kind of the smell's kind of wearing off a little bit from you. You're not feeling like that kind of vomit sensation just yet.
Yeah.
But you do eventually come across a darling kind of like weaving through, looking under a tent flap, poking its head back out, walking to the next one.
Mhm.
It's taking a bit of time. Like this is now taking longer than you expected.
Yep.
Do you keep on? Do you want
Yeah,
to change
absolutely.
tactic?
Yeah, no, keep going. I mean, I'll keep searching until we find enough uniforms or
Yep.
we get caught.
All right.
That's the goal.
Eventually, Darling managed to find another empty tent. This one, no one's sleeping. You do see what looks like a book, kind of left on the floor.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can just grab your message, your
Yeah, I'll
remaining
check the book,
one.
see if there's any literature or way we can understand what's going on here.
Yep. It looks to have been like the diary of somebody who fell through the mist. So initially, it just started off as being like, today's a wonderful day. I just left the town of Muscali. It's a beautiful day. I wonder what um, Fallon's up to this week, that kind of thing. And then eventually, as you flip through, you realize, oh no, this person was involved in a similar air crash to you guys. Barely survived. Were feeling very sick, and then they mentioned that they heard fighting going by close by, and then that was the last entry.
Yeah, okay. I think Henry feels extra sorrow for that, being this is one of the people that he could have tried to have helped and wasn't able to. Yeah, but that's fine. He'll grab the book and store it for now.
Yep. You've got the last uniform, so you now got 5 total.
Yep.
You are kind of straining a bit. It does look a bit odd that you're carrying all this stuff as well. Because you don't have the bag of holding, do you? Or do
No.
you?
No, you wouldn't.
None of us
So-
thought of that.
I am
That's right.
taking all the supplies out of it and lining it up.
It's just like vial after vial from that alchemy run that you guys did, lining them up by color.
Making them
not,
like in a real neat like formation and line, so it's all perfectly organized.
It
Mr.
feels
Whitber,
very.
how exactly are you doing that? I have the bag of holding on me and I am not where you are.
Just because I imagine this is a very New Year's sparkly moment, I'm going to say that you gave it to him before he left or he asked for it, because there's like this idea of him just forming them by in orders of color and size. So by the time you come back, it's all in this like ridiculous array.
I go into libraries and arrange the books by height order.
Different version of the Dewey Decimal. Is by the decimal height they're at.
Yeah.
You're going to hate me when I get back because I'm going to tip them all back in no order at all.
Anyway, so I've grabbed the uniform and I'm start making my way back.
Yep. Give me a 2d6 roll to see if you manage to make it out without any concerns.
1 and a 5.
Ah,
I'm
You are
so
sneakier
disappointed
than
by how
we
well you
thought.
are rolling today. I
I
wanted
know.
more drama.
The opposite of how I've always rolled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Don't worry, you're
growing
saving it up.
more and more concerned with every successful roll.
It's waiting for something
As are
big
we
to happen.
all.
So you managed to make it out because Darling's leading the way. You managed to make it out. Darling with their deep attachment to Astrakhan manages to fight Astrakhan. Initially Astrakhan, you're like, why is this what is this smell? You smell them before you see them. But very quickly resolves into the shape of these two kind of running out with this pile of laundry. Melody, you also see this as well. You guys go back to Mr. Whitber, see his little busy pile, which immediately just gets tipped into the bag of holding, I guess, without any arrangement. And now you guys got all the uniforms. Devon's like not wanting to go, is almost refusing to put them on. He's very reluctant to go back.
You don't have to go with us, Devin. It's just if we're leaving you here by yourself, we don't want the horde to find you by accident. So if you kind of look or I guess smell like one of them, they'll ignore you.
Mhm.
This is not a disguise to come with us. This is a disguise that you'll be safe left here by yourself.
I mean, the smell's not so bad once you get used to it.
How long did it take you to get used to it, Henry?
Just about an hour, and even then, it's still hard.
Do I have any sort of concoctions in my muddle in the bag of holding that are really strong smelling?
Give me an alchemy roll to see how well you do on that.
I mean, wouldn't that cover up the smell that we're trying to acquire to hide from them?
3.
3. So
No.
I was gonna say maybe you don't find perfume, but you do find like a heavy mint smell. Like I don't know if you guys have heard of this story on Reddit about how somebody was like in a surgeon and it had this like terrible smell, and everyone was like had this mint stuff underneath their mask to try and deal with the smell. It's apparently it's fairly common in surgery. I don't know. You're trying to concoct that. Instead, what you make is this like violent pepper smell. So the second he kind of puts it under his nostrils to kind of cover his smell, he starts sneezing like crazy. Not enough to draw attention, but it's like, yep, that is not gonna work.
Damn it.
Wow. Hang on to that because it might be useful later.
I put the vial of strong pepper smelling stuff in my pocket. It could be useful later. Sadly, we're going to have to just deal with the stench.
Yeah. So you guys managed to put on it is mostly it's not so much a disguise, it's just a nose disguise. It's not a visual one at all. It's just rags that reek. You guys managed to put them on. You guys can start trying to make your way through. It's getting a little later at this point, so maybe it'll be easy to go through when it's dark, or you could try and go in the morning when you got more time.
I think I'd prefer to do it at night if possible. Less chance of them doing a double take on us.
Well, fortunately, night is coming on, so we're all set.
Great.
Yep. All right. So Devin he just kind of puts the rags on himself, and he picks out like this old tree stump, close by as a bit of a landmark that he'll hide inside, until you guys manage to come back.
All right. Hopefully with Neely.
Hopefully with his mum. He wishes he could go. Like he's a bit ashamed that he's so scared, but at the same time, there's a fair bit of trauma there.
That's fair. Better that
Henry
he
looks at
stays
him.
here than, freezes up.
Henry looks at him and sees his younger self. I remember.
Younger
You'll be
self.
right, Devin.
Season 1 self.
I remember I was like that last week. So to be so young.
We're going to have to pick up another uniform on our way through for Neely.
Yeah, smart thinking.
All right. You guys try to look through. Just out of fun, could everyone give me a 2d6 roll just to see how well you do?
1 and a 6, both
5
ends of
and a
the
6.
scale.
3 and a 5.
Melody?
5 and a 6.
Cool. And
1 and a
Esther
6. 1 and a
Oh.
6.
I'm looking forward to all these successes paying off in my favor later. So you guys managed to go through no issues. There is this kind of moment, I'll say, with Astrakhan. You get a little bit separated from the group, and just end up with surrounded by these hordes. They're all this kind of that weird mutation I described earlier, all the masking, stuff like that. One of them kind of goes right up to you and gives you that kind of like how dogs grade each other, like a full on like all over.
Snuffle.
Yeah,
Sticks its nose in your ass.
I wasn't going to go that far. But yeah,
I'm not Henry.
They give you their proper snuffle, I guess, and but then kind of satisfied and move on afterwards.
Which makes perfect sense. I just kind of stand there awkwardly and then walk away in this awkward sideways shuffle, which is super suspicious, and yet apparently does not register suspicious.
Does not register. Like it's all good. Maybe that's just how you walk. They're very accepting, this horde, of all people's methods of locomotion. You make it through. There's no sign of any slaves. It is just this army, and it is an army at this point. You kind of lose. You're not able to count them, but there certainly seems like several hundred, if not thousands, of this horde kind of wandering around. Eventually, you reach the temple, so the golem itself. At this point, you can't miss those wings. And in fact, if you haven't worked it out already, those were the dragon's wings. It kind of seems to have torn off and reattached to itself.
I didn't pick up on that. No.
So that's where they went. There is this kind
golem, is it made of like other weird bits of flesh, or is it mostly stone just with dragon wings?
Give me a 3d6 roll to see if you can work it out.
That's disturbing in and of itself.
I just have this imagery of you like touching the wall and then like licking it.
Which, is completely in character, actually. So that's a 6, 3, and a 5.
Nice. So it's not so much stone as mud. It's quite soft when you touch it. It's not
I have mud on my tongue. Yeah. I have golem mud.
But it's got this red tinge that you suspect it's also kind of mud and blood mixed together to give it its form. So just this idea of earth and flesh, kind of enough of it to make this enormous creature. There is, and I guess with that as well, there is a salty smell. Like, it doesn't smell bad. It almost smells like the ocean. But it is there, this kind of waft coming at it as you're trying to work out its composition. I'll add as well, this thing radiates, especially to you, given that you're doing this inspection, it radiates magic that's familiar to you. So for your golemancy, so it's very much like, oh, if I had unlimited magical power, I could try and do this type of scenario.
I whip out my notebook and start taking notes.
But in saying that, like what's powering this thing is so far beyond anything that you could imagine. Like, I'm not using the word unlimited lightly. Like, it's creationist levels.
Wow.
That's all right. I think I understand where they're getting this power from. They're just sacrificing hundreds and thousands of magic users and using their blood to build the golem and power it. I am reasonably confident that that's possible. Not that I would do. Not that I would do that. No.
She said, putting away her notebook for later.
Yes, for later.
How much magic would you say of Melody? Just on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh god, you just reminded me of a terrible joke. So I'm gonna repeat this joke just because I found it funny, but also gives an idea. That the movie 300 is so named because on a scale of 1 to 10, that's how gay it is. So on a similar scale, this is also 300 on the 1 to 10 scale of magic.
Wow. Okay. Living the dream.
You eventually see this like entrance that's been built into where the ankle is. And steps
nice and G-rated
up.
there in the ankle.
Yes, well, I thought long and hard about where I was going to describe the entrance.
I'm sure you did.
How scandalous. We can see the ankle.
Is there a back entrance anywhere?
You wish to go around to find out?
No, we do not.
I want to separate the group.
In a perfectly sensible and mature manner, there are no other entrances that you're aware of. Besides, anything like that would be too far up because these are the parts touching the ground.
We just bent the other side of the ankle. What are you talking about?
You see
right
some
foot
stairs.
Is the main entrance, left foot is the second entrance.
Just how God intended.
We go up the stairs. We go up the stairs.
You're gonna- Oh,
Well, you're making the face.
I'm
It's
making the
not even
face.
Squilk involved. You're making the face.
Are there squilk fountains in the entrance?
No, but when you start entering, there's like these fruit like fibers kind of hanging down from the walls. And for pretty much all of you who have magic, which I think is everyone except Mr. Whitber, given that Henry's now got the healing trait,
Hmm.
they just kind of like reach out for you guys. If you stand still long enough, they start to wrap themselves around you.
I do not stand still.
No, I think Henry just keeps kicking it. It's like, get off! Stop!
It's very like it's almost like cotton thread. Like it's very thin, but you get the feeling that enough of them, if you stand still for long enough, would eventually stop you, and potentially incapacitate you. They tingle when if they touch you for too long.
Melody's just going to fly just very slightly above the ground to avoid them.
Oh, they're coming from the
whole
walls and the
time.
roof.
But like, that idea of like it's
Yeah.
keeping
In the
her
middle.
physical contact from away from the walls.
Fair enough. Understandable.
Yep.
Eventually, you reach a point where you can't, where it opens up a bit more, like as you go up these stairs. In this section, you do see there's hundreds of cages kind of set into the walls around you. As you get close enough to one of them, you see that there's a humanoid figure. They've been pressed against the wall of the room, held in place by those fibers. They're completely emaciated. They may possibly even be deceased. You don't see any signs of life, but they look almost mummified. And as you kind of take in the rest of these cages, you see that most of them have got a body in there and similar levels of emaciation, wrapped head to toe almost in these fibers.
I'm going to quietly ask Darling to do a very quick round and see if there's any sign of Neely.
Sure, give me a 3d6 roll.
Keep losing my tab with the dice. That is 3 ones.
Ooh.
Wow.
What are the odds of that? Low.
Low.
I don't know. I kind of want to know the numbers now because that shouldn't happen. But I guess I have to call that a critical failure, don't I?
Yeah, I think so.
So the bad news is no Neely,
I mean, it's
of
1 in
course.
36 just for those playing along, but like it's not the point. It's still low.
It's still fucking low. It's still crazy low. So not only do you not find Neely, you lose track of Darling.
That's
Darling
bad.
So Darling like wanders around and doesn't come back.
I'll catch up with you guys. I've got to find my spider bot. I'm going to go hunt for Darling and see if I can find her.
All right. Do you guys let Astrakhan go? Do you?
Yeah, I think Henry would start panicking. Like, what? Darling's missing? We have to find. We have. All right, let's just no, let's not split up. We'll find her. I mean, if she comes back here, then she doesn't want to be lost herself. So let's just all have a quick look around. Everyone, check your backpacks.
You guys walk away. Melody, Mr. Whitber, what are you doing in this situation?
So Astrakhan's just run off after
Yep.
just hunting around the spider bot.
So they sent Darling ahead to look for Neely, and after like an unreasonable amount of time, they've not returned.
Well, yeah, I think we should, probably follow after cautiously as well. Yeah.
Melody's following after, but repetitively looking behind her to make sure that there's nothing coming up behind them, because the last thing they want is to speedily head into something and then have an enemy approach them from behind. She says, being very careful about how she says that sentence, knowing this particular group of players.
What are you talking about?
So very quickly, like, so this larger room splits off multiple entrances and exits. The Astrakhan, give me a 2d6 roll to see how you will go kind of reaching out with your special connection to Darling to try and track down which one they've gone down.
All right. Was that, sorry, you cut out for a second. Was that 2 or 3?
Give me a 2d6 roll.
2. 3 and a 4.
Cool. So you take a side doorway, just for some reason feels right. As you go through, you very quickly it opens up to a larger hallway, but you see this, like, the floor's covered in acid. You don't know how deep it is, but a part of you saying it has to be this way. If you can get across, if you can traverse this, then you'll be able to get across. You see another door on the other side.
Oh, acid on the floor. Melody,
Oh, no.
Melody. I
Yes?
need you.
What's,
Can you help?
What's,
I need your help to get across the acid.
do you want me to carry you across, or you just need
Yes,
me to go
please.
across? I mean, okay. She's gonna like do the sort of scoop you up under the arms
Lucky.
and take you across. Yes, you know, if I drop you, this is bad, all right? So don't you squirm around under these things. This is not as fun for you as it is may feel like.
All right.
I attempt to be as still as possible.
As you fly over Astrakhan, looking down, you see these skeleton skulls floating in this acid. And then eventually something reaches up and grabs at you. And you realize it's Darling's tentacle. It must have been crawling across the roof and fallen in.
Oh no.
So how are you going to do this?
Melody, we need to go lower so I can grab Darling.
You know that if I go lower, my feet are going to eat the acid before yours are, right? You are aware of this?
You can tuck your feet up? Or let Darling catch onto your foot. I don't need my feet there, as long as Darling can grab something. I will owe you a really big favor.
Something that she can alight on temporarily, like, or do I have to go all the way back to put my feet down? Because I want to basically readjust how I'm carrying you, but I'm not doing that whilst throwing you around a pile of acid.
So, this is where all the rolls that you guys succeeded on pay off, because I just rolled 2d6 just to be like, let's see what fate says about it. And apparently the answer is double ones.
Oh,
So no, there's nothing
So
for me to alight on.
it's completely flat.
Um,
Darling is sinking.
Okay.
I
What she's gonna do is basically like keep one arm through you, but functionally turn you upside down, so she's holding your feet and lower you down that way.
Okay, sure.
I
Henry
like
standing
it.
on the side with Mr. Whitber. So graceful.
I just like this idea of like mid-air juggling as you're rotating.
Hey, you're a
around
bard. What do you want?
Astrakhan.
Like, just
I was going to use my spell touch ability to get a cord out of my pocket and drop that for Darling, but instead I'm going to wrap it around me and Melody so she doesn't drop me and try to grab onto Darling before Darling sinks.
All right, give me a 2d6 roll if you could, to see if you're able to do so without taking too much acid.
without taking too much
I
acid.
got a 6. I got a
That's
6.
exactly how I would have phrased it.
Finally.
6 and a 2.
So you're able to kind of like wrap your hand up, your sleeve up in your hand up in your sleeve and like grab the its tentacle feet thing, yank it back up, and there's some splashing and it's like sizzling, but it's not enough to cause any lasting damage.
Yay.
Darling's doing that thing where it's like it's almost spider monkeying its way up onto up you and then up into Melody's back. It does not want to go back now.
Let's see
Do you
if we
want me
can
to
get
keep going
ourselves.
forward, or do you want me to take us back?
Let's go back so that we don't have to go and fetch everybody over the acid.
Okay. She's gonna fly back.
Yeah, you reconnoiter. You're all back together again. No issues, no damage, just a slight diversion.
You
I
are
guess.
definitely getting lowered like into a handstand and rolled out. Like say, lower you down so you forward roll out because I'm not going to try and re-juggle you in the middle of the acid.
I undo the cord holding us together as well.
I was gonna bring that up. Like you let her go and realize that she's a rep so psychotic fault, and you end up taking a somersault as well.
Mm.
But no. Um,
I cuddle my
Guys
spider
could
bot.
be
I'm
like a really awesome circus act.
So, is it you or me next, Mr. Whipper?
You have had your turn. You got lifted down from your ship.
Yeah, but I didn't get to enjoy it.
Whose fault
Do
is
you-
that?
Do you
How
think
often
I
do you get to
enjoyed
fly?
that?
I mean, looked fun. It's fine. We'll figure out a way around. Mr. Whipper, you want to come with me? We'll find another way to get over there.
Makes sense to me.
We're
Wait,
back on the
you're
same
across
side as
wait,
you.
you guys are all
Sorry.
together.
We're
I thought
trying
you
to find.
went over.
I thought we're
Never
trying to find
mind.
another way around, right?
Well, you
Around
don't know,
the-
like you don't know where you're going. So there is a door on the other side of this pit.
Yeah.
But you don't know if that's where you need to go or not.
And there are lots of entrances and exits from the cage room.
But does
Yes.
Darling think we need to go that way? Does
I'm not
Darling
sure
know
that-
anything?
I'm not sure that Darling should be relied on at this moment in time. Darling fell in a bath of acid.
Is she okay?
Mostly.
Good. Okay,
Bad boot.
good. All right. Let's find another way around. So Henry will take the lead and start searching.
All right. Can you give me a 2d6 roll to see how well your search goes?
Sure can. Double one.
Are you for real?
Really?
Yep.
Here we go.
I turn around and walk directly into the acid. Oh, Melody, save me!
Is that 3 in a row? Is that 3 in a row?
Arguably, that's 5 in a row because that's like 3 ones and then.
Wow.
So that's a total of 7 ones total, because you had 3 and then 2 and then another 2.
That's so
Um,
impressive.
Yep.
I told you guys succeeded too much. You gave me too much fate.
It's good.
So
So good.
the good news is that you guys all stay together.
Is that good news?
The bad news is that you've come across this section, a bit of tunnel, going through. It looks like you kind of need to crawl underneath. It looks like it's been partially collapsed. So there's like this tiny little narrow wedge going through. It's big enough for Melody to kind of crawl through, but everyone needs to go in one at a time. Who wants
Okay.
to go through first?
Henry will. Being that I've rolled double one, I think it seems only fair.
Yeah. So
I'll follow Henry.
Henry, you go through. Once you come out the other side, you see there's like a lever. It looks like kind of designed to hold these rocks up and let people get past.
Mhm.
So you can try
so-
and make it a bit easier.
Yeah, I'll pull the lever to do so.
All right.
Sorry.
Wrong lever, clunk.
So Mr. Whitby, you're next.
Yep.
Cool. Who's after that? You.
Guess I will go next.
I think
Go.
Melody would actively choose to go last, mostly because because she is the tallest. If it's going to collapse on anyone, she doesn't want the others to get stuck on the other side.
All right.
So she'll actively go last.
So Astrakhan, when you go through, Darling's like riding you like a tiny little backpack, shivering. It is
Yep,
not okay. Melody, you make it through. As you do, you see this lever has got some you see this like rope attachment to the lever, underneath, and you realize that there was always this chance that it was like a trap that was designed that if you pulled on the lever too much, it was going to collapse on whoever was going through.
Cool,
But the
cool,
good
cool,
news
cool,
is
cool,
that
cool.
I kept on failing my rolls too. So
Yay.
it never
Hey.
apparently the curse
Hurrah,
cuts
I
both ways.
survived.
So unfortunately, you guys all managed to make it through without being separated.
Unfortunately, God, whose side are you on?
Fate.
The dice's side.
Chaos. All right, we continue searching for Neely.
Yeah. You start making your way upwards. Eventually, you come across a large furnace that's covered by that seems to be operated by some of the horde. You haven't seen that many inside. They've all been outside, but they seem to be shoveling in wood, like very dried wood, but also the occasional body part seems to be going into the furnace as well. You don't try and stick around too much to get more detailed than that.
Okay. Great. We'll continue on then. Looking out for any sign of Neely or a god we have to kill. Just casually.
Just cash. So you guys continue on. Eventually, you reach. It's taking a bit of time. You do reach a point where it starts opening up to the outside again.
Mhm.
If you kind of take a look through this doorway, it's going straight down. You seem to be just about where just underneath where the throat is on the person, and you see this like narrow stairway leading up outside from where you are up to the top of that crown.
A narrow. Yeah, so just, yeah, okay. We'll,
So kind of going from the bottom of the throat, presumably up around to that temple you saw at the top.
yep, let's continue on unless anyone else has any complaints about that.
Melody
I'm a bit
is still
concerned
checking
that-
behind us as we go.
Yeah.
By the way, this is like a regular.
Mm-hmm. So far, your disguise has worked. Like the smell hasn't drawn any more attention.
It just seems too convenient.
I'm worried that we're going to run into the Red Fae before we find Neely.
It's possible.
Well, what's our plan when we run into the Red Fae?
My plan was not to
What's our plan if we do?
run away.
Yeah, probably
Fly away.
probably run away. I mean, the Blue Fury believed in us, so that's something. No?
Why, Mr. Whisper, do you need a
Just
plan? Do
listens
you
to
not
the
have,
crickets.
do you not have a plan that you would prefer
I
to do?
didn't want to interrupt the crickets.
I was just curious to make sure sort of it wasn't something had missed or forgotten over our it felt like we were asleep for weeks after that last fight, so
For some of you,
Well,
you were asleep, perhaps.
if
But
you want,
for
you can
all of
take a
us-
quick flashback and think through what the plan is if you do reach her.
If you wouldn't mind.
Sorry. Oh, I was gonna say, like, if we're just happy to run away, I'm happy to run away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
I
think
mean, the Blue Fae said if we take some of her power to her sister, she'll be able to reappear and fight. And
So
we know that Neely has a connection somehow to the Blue Fae, and we need to find her.
what the blue face said was, if you can get to Neely, she'll be able to appear and help you fight.
great. All right. So all we gotta do is find Neely. Problem solved.
So if we have a connection to the Blue Fae and Neely has a connection to the Blue Fae, could we try to use that to find Neely?
Sure. I'll let you roll. I'll let you roll a 2d6 to see what the wind tells you.
Okay. I was going to try to hotwire a search algorithm into Darling to see if Darling could actually point us at least in a direction. But I can listen to what the wind tells me as well. That's totally scientific.
I'm gonna put it as a asterisk next to it, but yes.
4 and a 5. The
Okay.
wind was actually speaking to me.
You kind of reach through, you kind of let go of your technology side of things and reach out to other magic, and you do see or feel, sorry, Neely's presence up top. It
Okay.
seems to be surprisingly strong, like given how badly off Davin was, but it's definitely coming up from up top.
Okay. Well, the wind tells me that Neely is somewhere above us, up at the top of the golem. So I guess we go up the stairs.
Oh.
Everyone on board with more stairs?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So you guys are kind of hugging the wall as you climb up. There's no wind. It's more the fact that it's just very narrow these last few steps. You come up to the top of the temple, the crown of top of this giant golem. What you see is right in the center what looks like a large sarcophagus or coffin made out of stone. It seems to be glowing from on the inside of the purplish light, as you see it. Purplish greenish, weird light. You do see the Red Fae. Their backs to you at the moment. They seem to be kind of looking over the edge of the golem, looking down across the land, possibly able to see more than you can see. And you do see nearly a couple of meters to their right, chained up, not looking around. So you don't know if they're asleep or just not seeing you, but they don't respond to you coming up and around.
Wow. Okay. Do we get major strong vibes or from like the energy this Fae puts out?
You've
What's
got some
their
magic
power
now.
level?
So you feel like you want to scan their power level.
I do want to scan their power level, see what they've got.
Sure. I'm gonna give you a 2d6 roll just because given that you got some magic now.
Great. 6 and a 3. All right, here we go.
Cool. So what's the number? 9,000?
Yeah, it's over
Yeah.
9,000.
So not only do you get 9,000 from the Red Fae, you also get 9,000 coming from that purple greeny sarcophagus, whatever's inside there.
Good.
Similar levels. You get a faint blip from Neely and the rest of your compatriots. But you'd certainly, if this was like a Souls like, there'd be like skulls instead of a numbered level above her head.
All right, good.
The Red Fae doesn't seem to have noticed us yet. I'm going to put Darling on the ground and very quietly instruct Darling to sneak over and unchain Neely without being seen.
Mm. I think we're gonna leave it there and
Oh,
see how that
goddamn.
goes.
Cliffhanger.
Wow.
And that could be the first roll of next time.
Yeah, that feels right. That feels
All
right.
All right, good. Doesn't feel bad at all. Like we're not gonna die. It's good.
Dan's just mad we're rolling really well tonight, so he's like, no,
Yeah.
I need to.
just gotta cut it off now.
Gotta
Yeah.
kill the characters.
With-
Gotta do it.
I'll let the universe rebalance itself for next time.
Go to the butterfly park.
The what?
The
Butterfly park.
idea that the butterflies can cause a
Oh yeah,
cause
yeah,
a
yeah.
Yeah.
cyclone
Effect.
and
Wait for some more
Flash
butterflies
butterfly
to flap
effect.
their
Causes
wings.
a tidal wave.
Oh, in this
Um,
case, would be a giant ladybird.
Flap those wings, Melody. Flap them hard.
What kind of tidal wave is that going to cause? Oh no.
Hopefully
what-
one we
good
can
kind or the
surf rather
bad
than
kind?
one that drowns us.
So I guess one last epilogue before we have the finale, the big fight next
Ooh.
time.
Yeah.
It's a very simple one. and it probably takes place in an unexpected spot, but we come across to the Blue Fae, sitting at what looks like a tavern. So, kind of sitting down, looking a bit morose, kind of sad for themselves. Almost look like they're just staring off, very displeased. They've got a drink of some description in front of them. It seems to be swirling, even though it's just sitting still in front of her. She kind of looks like she's made up her mind, downs the drink in one hit, and says it's time to finish this, and leaves. And we'll leave it there.
Just casually drinking while we're out here doing all the work.
Yeah.
Potentially.
All right.
Who knows?
Cool.
We'll have to find out next time.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
Right.
Looking
will all
forward
make
to it.
sense.
Ba, ba, ba.
That is
Wow.
an evil cliffhanger to leave us on.
Mm.
Yeah, it was exactly the cliffhanger that was always going to happen.
Yeah.
That's true. True.
Oh. All right. Good
How
effort.
much more Cliff could I put out in front of you guys? Come on.
Oh, I have faith in you, Dan. You could put lots of cliffs in front of us for us to fall off the edge of.
Henry's already fallen off a cliff. It's fine.